I've never really been a fan of making IEMs wireless because all of the stuff I've tried in the past has not really been able to come anywhere close to what a cable can give you in terms of overall quality. This set, on the other hand, does get kind of close to what the cable can do with a good DAC amp. Thank you to the folk at HiFi Audio for making this review possible by sending me this demo unit. All thoughts and opinions are my own as always. So let's jump into the build and the unboxing. The unboxing is fairly straightforward. You do get the GoPod Air fabric case in the box, and you also do get the literature. You get a little HiFi sticker, which is cool. And you also do get a very nice looking USB-A to USB Type-C cable, and it does have some nice length on it. Now moving on to the GoPod Air, this is a very neatly made case. It's a fabric case with the HiFi brand on it, of course. Even the zip provided is a pretty nice one. It is a rubber finish with the HiFi brand on it. And when you move to the front of the case, you will see these two screws holding the unit in place at the bottom of the case with the USB Type-C charging port. And when you flip it on over to the bottom, you will see it says GoPod Air charging case and the other details as well. Now when you unzip it, what's pretty neat is you do get two sets of loops. So of course you do get the GoPod Air unit that you connect these loops to, which are of course charging, and then you do get the CX connector for various IEMs, but you also do get the 0.78 connector as well. So this is nice to see for if you have many different kinds of IEM terminations. These loops are pretty well made. Now they do have a rubber feel to them. They do have the HiFi brand at the back, and they do have the left and right markings as well, and they're pretty grippy, which they have to be if they're looped around your ear. Now the actual unit itself is kind of on the larger side, but it sits behind your ear and it's not too heavy. I've never felt it sort of tugging at my ear, so it's pretty comfortable. Now what's cool about this is it does have an IPX5 rating, so you shouldn't worry too much about it getting wet, but I would worry about the IEMs because IEMs usually don't come with any sort of rating. So if it starts raining, maybe keep that in mind. But one thing I will recommend if you are a care freak like I am is give these a wipe down after every workout or every time you use them, because you don't want these connector points to erode anytime fast. And then of course over here on the front, you will see the indicator light on the sort of matte finished section. This will let you know what this is doing. You'll have to go through the manual to know exactly what you're looking at. And the touch control area is here. So with this touch control, you can play, pause, skip to next, previous tracks, answer and end phone calls, as well as control volume with the right going up and with the left going down. Now yeah, considering it does work with calls, this lower section here does have an opening for a microphone, so you can take calls on this, which I'll get into in a second. Now these do magnetically slot into this little charging case pretty well. Now considering the IEMs I have, they are a bit on the larger side, so this does take a bit of a struggle to fit it in, but once it fits, it's going to charge up pretty well. The IEM that I've chosen to pair with this is the Hydes MP145 Pro. Beautiful set of IEMs. It is kind of demanding, which is why I've plugged it into this. Now considering this doesn't have a recess for this plastic slot to go into, the IEM does sit a bit lower down than it should, so this doesn't fit me too well, but it is comfortable enough once it settles into place. Moving on to this microphone, they do mention that it does have some sort of noise suppression technology, so I'm really going to put this to the test and do a test near a very busy street, so you guys will know exactly how your voice will carry over to your recipients. So I'm calling you from the busy street. I do all of my call tests from, just so you can get a sense of how much noise these GoPod Airs are going to be battling when it comes to noise suppression. So of course there's a whole bunch of two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers behind me. You will get some trucks with pressure horns, and there's quite literally construction going on all around me today. So anyway, I've been on the camera microphone all this time, and I'll switch over to the GoPod Air microphone right about now. So this is the overall total quality you can expect to carry on over to your recipient in this kind of setting. Now, no doubt this I think might be the worst if you go out for walks or runs in a very busy space. I do suspect that this will do considerably better maybe in a controlled environment in an office or home. But this is where you sit in the reviewer seat. This is where you get to see how this will perform. So maybe let me know down in the comments what you think about the overall call quality of these microphones, and I'll see you back in the studio. Moving on to everything else you get, well, there's a lot to go through, so I'm going to read this off my phone. Now, this does come with Bluetooth version 5.2. It's not the latest, but it is a pretty stable version of Bluetooth. Now, what's cool about this is it does have an auto impedance detector. So, depending on your IEM, it'll cater to that. So it can detect 1632 64 ohms, and when it comes to its output power, it has about 57 milliwatts at 16 ohms, and of course at 64 ohms it's down to about 30 milliwatts. So I mean, there will be that change, no doubt. And then of course, when it comes to the batteries, the charging box is a 580 mAh capacity battery, and the pods are 180 mAh as well. So what's really cool about this is that they can each give you about 7 hours, I'd say, depending on the volume you're listening to these at and what codec you are using, because I think with these, just the pods alone, you can get about maybe 7 hours, maybe listening at 50% volume, and then you get, if they completely run dry and you put it back into the case, you'll get another 7 hours. So now if you're listening to SBC or AAC codecs, it should give you that 14 to 15 hours, no issue. But the minute you go on to the LDAC codec, expect those numbers to drop drastically, because it is using a lot more data and power. Now, what's cool about this is it doesn't have just one chip doing everything, as far as I know. It does have a separate Bluetooth receiver, it does have a separate DAC, it does have a separate amp. So having separate components, to me, I think is always the way to go. It's got its own benefits, no doubt. Maybe that's a big reason why this is as large as it is, plus that very large battery, of course. And then moving on to the specs for the sound, it does have a 20 Hz to 40,000 kHz frequency response. Keep in mind, this is only when you're using the LDAC codec. I think the others will sort of drop it down to 20 to 20. And then this does support a slew of codecs. So you've got SPC, AAC compatibility, you've got AptX adaptive, and you also do have LHDC as well as LDAC. So I think no matter what phone or whatever device you're using to broadcast to this, you're going to have something there, because I do know that some products usually are very limited to maybe just the SPC, AAC and LDAC. So if you've got LHDC, you can't really use high res. So they've really thought about everybody here. So now moving on to the sound in general, well, I have paired it with the MP145 Pro, like I have mentioned. It is a very transparent set of IEMs. I have recently reviewed it, beautiful sounding set. Now the thing is with this, if I'm being very honest, if you are doing A/B testing between a portable DAC amp that is significantly more powerful and this, you will hear a difference, especially in terms of power and having more headroom with that. But if you look at this as if you're an individual who's an audiophile and you want to be out on the move with good quality audio, while you're going for your walks, your runs, or even if you're just getting a bit fed up of the whole cable interaction, this is a pretty decent upgrade to have. And I'll say that because I have tested a whole bunch of other wireless receivers for IEMs, and they usually just don't cut it. There's a factor of compromise with a lot more affordable wireless receivers, especially with a lot of affordable brands that are coming out of various countries right now. And this is very obvious that they've catered towards quality. So what I do like about this is that I'm not losing very much clarity when it comes to using the LDAC codec. In fact, there is a considerable difference when you're using the SPC, AAC and LDAC codec. So I definitely do prefer using the LDAC at the compromise of it eating to the battery, no doubt. And I completely forgot to mention, this also does have an app. In fact, the app that it uses is called the HiFi Nexus, and you can do a few things with it. And what I like about it is you don't necessarily have to log into the app. You can just use it on offline mode. But if you do log into it, you get better access to updates and so on and so forth. So I did have to do an update for this, and you don't get too much to do. You can play around with your touch controls. You can play around with a few filters. You can change the name on it. It's pretty basic, but it lets you do what you want to do when it comes to slight tweaks with those filters. But yeah, coming back to the sound, the one thing I did realize with more affordable receivers is they tend to lose a lot of the clarity, in the sense the finer detail of things like reverb or resonance in a room. Those somehow don't have the power to push through certain IEMs. I guess the biggest advantage of this is that auto impedance selector. It'll do that itself. It'll make sure that it matches it as well as it can. Again, I will recommend the LDAC codec for certain. And if you know that you're that individual who's okay with a little bit of compromise compared to cable, and you want the convenience of wireless with your IEMs, it makes a lot of sense to go for. Now, you definitely have to remember that if you're using this for walks or runs outdoor, the unit itself will have that IPX5, but your IEMs are most likely not protected from the elements. So either way, when you come back, if it's pretty hot where you are, just wipe these down along with your IEMs, it will give it much more life, no doubt. So now moving on to the price, if you do want to pick these up, I'd say this is again catered to the person who has high-end IEMs. Please don't consider something as expensive as this. If you've got very budget IEMs, this is obviously a very premium product. In fact, that's a big reason why I've paired it with the MP145 Pro, because it's an expensive unit that is transparent enough to let you really enjoy all the qualities of these receivers. So anyway, if you do want to buy this, this does go for about 249 US dollars. So if you do want to pick this up, I will leave all the links down below. It will take you to those websites, of course, and you can make these yours. So yeah, I mean, on a price front, I think a lot of people will find this to be a little on the higher side, but I think it's justified, because this is doing a lot of things that I think a lot of other receivers are not doing. And I think the most important thing being it's able to give you a terrific quality of sound with fullness, with detail, and it's something that has been lacking, I'd say, in the realm of convenience with high-res audio. Wireless is always a bit compromised, no doubt, which this is. It has a very slight compromise, I'd say, but it's not huge like if you were to buy a very affordable set of receivers. So anyway, there you have it. That's my review on the GoPod Air, and I do hope that this video has given you a better understanding for this receiver. If you would like to help support the channel, I'm sure you know exactly how to. But of course, thank you for tuning in for some sound advice.